On August 12, the moon blotted out the sun over Iceland and northern Spain for 2 minutes and 18 seconds. The first total solar eclipse over mainland Europe since 1999. Within the same 2 days, social media filled with warnings that the eclipse could trigger earthquakes, poison food left uncovered, and harm unborn babies. None of that is new. Eclipse myths have circulated for centuries. And every eclipse since smartphones existed has produced a fresh wave of them. What makes this one worth sorting out is that the real event was already remarkable enough on its own. And mixed in with the fake warnings was one genuine risk that actually does send people to the hospital every single time an eclipse happens. So today you get 3 things. What actually happened in the sky? Which viral claims about it are false? And the one claim that is completely true and worth taking seriously. Let us start with what astronomers actually recorded. The path of totality, the narrow strip of Earth where the moon fully covers the sun, ran through a remote stretch of Siberian Russia, across eastern Greenland, along Iceland's west coast, and into northern Spain and a small corner of Portugal. Totality lasted longest, 2 minutes and 18 seconds, near the middle of that path, and shortened toward the edges, with Iceland seeing closer to 1 minute and 45 seconds. Timing shifted with geography too. Russia saw it at midday, Greenland and Iceland in the late afternoon, and Spain just before sunset, low on the horizon. For Spain specifically, this was the first total solar eclipse visible from the mainland in more than a century. Which is why crowds gathered and applauded as the sky went dark. Beyond the path itself, a much wider band, including parts of the northern United States, most of Canada, and much of Europe and northwestern Africa, saw a partial eclipse, where the moon covers only part of the sun's disk. That is the entire physical event. A predictable, well-mapped alignment of sun, moon, and earth, calculated years in advance down to the second. Start with earthquakes. The claim resurfaces before nearly every eclipse. The alignment of sun and moon somehow builds up pressure that triggers seismic activity. It has no supporting mechanism and no supporting data. Eclipses happen on a predictable schedule going back thousands of years. And earthquakes do not cluster around those dates any more than they cluster around any other 2-day window. If anything, human-generated seismic noise, traffic, machinery, construction, tends to drop slightly during totality, since a lot of people briefly stop what they are doing to look up. Next, food safety. The idea that food left uncovered during an eclipse becomes toxic has no chemical basis. Whether food is safe depends on temperature, storage, and hygiene, exactly as it does on any other day the sun happens to be in the sky. And the claim that eclipses endanger pregnant women or unborn children has been studied directly and repeatedly, including by the Business Standards Health Desk covering this exact eclipse, and found no evidence of any special radiation or risk. These 3 claims share a pattern. They assign the eclipse a hidden power it does not have. Not everything people say about eclipses is exaggeration. 2 effects are real and measurable. The first is temperature. As the moon blocks sunlight during totality, the air temperature at ground level genuinely drops, sometimes several degrees, and the change happens fast enough that some observers describe an eerie stillness settling in as it does. The second is animal behavior. And this one is more interesting than it sounds. Animals are not reacting to anything supernatural. They are reacting to sudden darkness the same way they would react to evening arriving early. Many species, birds, fish, insects, have behavior tied closely to light levels. Foraging at dusk, sheltering at night, migrating on cue from changing light. A total eclipse can trigger those same behaviors on a compressed, wrong time schedule, which is why observers have documented birds going quiet and heading to roost in the middle of the afternoon during past eclipses. So the honest picture is mixed on purpose. The spooky sounding claims, earthquakes, poisoned food, pregnancy risk, are invented, while the temperature drop and the animal confusion are both real physics and real biology. Responding to real darkness. Here is the risk that is not a myth at all. Looking directly at the sun during an eclipse, at any point except the brief seconds of total coverage, can cause permanent eye damage. And it does not hurt while it happens. The retina has no pain receptors. So you get no warning signal telling you to look away. Even a thin, bright crescent of sun peeking around the moon carries enough concentrated light to burn retinal tissue in seconds. And that damage, called solar retinopathy, can be permanent. Sunglasses, no matter how dark, do not block anywhere near enough infrared and ultraviolet light to make direct viewing safe. Proper eclipse glasses meet a specific international safety standard, ISO 12312-2, and regular sunglasses do not come close to it. Every eclipse that crosses a populated area produces a small but real spike in emergency eye clinic visits afterward. Almost always from people who watched without proper protection or removed their glasses too early. Compared with earthquakes and poisoned food, this risk sounds boring. It is also the only one on this list that is backed by actual case reports. Sort it by category and it gets simple fast: the eclipse itself. Signal. A rare, precisely predicted astronomical event. The first to cross mainland Europe since 1999. Worth the crowds and the applause. The earthquake, food poisoning, and pregnancy claims. Noise. Dressed up as caution but backed by nothing. The temperature drop and the animal confusion. Signal. Genuine physics and biology doing exactly what you would expect once you understand the mechanism. And the eye damage warning. The most important signal in the entire story. Precisely because it does not go viral the way an earthquake rumor does. It is not dramatic. It is just true. And it is the one claim in this episode actually worth changing your behavior over next time. Totality crosses your sky. Subscribe for more stories that separate the astronomy that is real from the warnings that are not. Signal from the noise. Every week.